Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.
A to Z of GDP. It is the article which criticizes the calculation as well as compilation of the GDP, compilation of the GDP done by National Statistical Office. What is the major mistake it has? The article is pointing out is that the accurate growth needed to be captured so that the reality of the economy will be seen through the data captured by the GDP compilation. But there is a problem in it. First and foremost problem which the author in the article is mentioning is the base year. For example, the GDP which we are calculating right now as the base year as 2011-12. So it is more than 10 years ago. It has been more than 10 years since the 2011 and 12 the base year which the base year has set for the calculating the GDP. And during the 10 period, the nature of the job and more number of jobs are also been added, more number of redundant job has been chucked out from the economic activity of the system. So these kind of changes has taken place during those 10 years. So by using the old base year, we could able the lot of areas where the economic activities is taking place are not getting properly identified. So there need to be revision of base year every 5 years. This is what the author is suggesting. Secondly, the new data source for compilation needed to be enhanced so that the new areas or the new economic activities where the particular data has been the new economic activities which has been made during those during the previous years, and the data related to the economic activities will be captured because of the new data source used for the compilations. And then thirdly, there need to be supply use tables for validation before releasing the estimates. This supply use tables were not used until now because of the inexperience in using the supply use table by the government. But after a certain period of time and the evolution of the technology, the government has mastered the usage of supply use table. This kind of supply use table needed to be inculcated into the validation of the statistics so that it could able to validate the data before the estimate being released. So how the news is related to examination is, under prelims it is related to economic and social development. Similarly, under mains it is related to Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization of resource, growth, development and employment. Okay. Since the news is related to GDP, let's discuss about what is GDP. GDP is the measure of a country's economic activity. The economic activities are the production that takes place within the boundary of the country. So, and it is the sum of the final price of goods as well as services that is produced within the border of the country, and it is measured over, particularly in India it is measured over market price. And there are two types of GDP. One is real GDP and another is nominal GDP. The real GDP is called constant GDP. Why? Because it reflects the real production that is happening in the system by adjusting it to the inflation of the economy. But in the case of nominal GDP, it will measure the economic activity by taking the current prices that is present in the system. Okay, what is the importance the gross domestic product and its measurement brings to an economy is the first, it could able to measure the economic performances so that we could able to find out where the lag and where we have performed better so that we could able to make policy accordingly. Similarly, it will act as indicator for economic growth. Thirdly, it will act as a basis for policy making because of the data which we have bought out because of the compilation as well as validation of the GDP. And then it could able to identify where the employment and where the employment of the economy is, and also we could able to identify what are all the factors that is hindering the producing more number of required jobs, so that we could able to make a policy to overcome such kind of hindrance to increase the employment. And then it will help the investors to take their investment related decisions in the economy, and then it will give idea about the business expansion. For example, if from the data GDP data we could able to identify whether the economy is undergoing a recession or economy is in the boom period. So such kind of business cycles or the economic cycle could be identified through this data. And then what is the limitation the calculation of the GDP poses is, first it ignores the environmental impact. Because of the increased production, there will be more number of environmental damages also will be take place simultaneously, but the cost for such damages are not accounted in the GDP. Secondly, the lack of coverage for informal sector is also one of the major lacuna, so that which makes the GDP's data less credible. Thirdly, it does not reflect the quality of life being lived by the people those are present in the economy. So what need to be studied is, first we should know about what is green GDP. Second is we should know about what is GNP as well as what is disposable income, and what are all the constituents of GNP as well as disposable income. Thirdly, we should know about the purchasing power parity and then convertibility. So these are all the other areas which we needed to be aware of.